Branding 101, how to create innovative and memorable branding. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm the Director of Marketing at IdeaPros, and I have Bobby Hallas. Did I say that right, Bobby?
Yes,
I
you did.
And he is our Creative Director at IdeaPros and is the innovator behind so many of our brands. They're all of the marketing materials, that the website, everything that goes into our partner brands. And I thought he would be the most amazing guest for us to have today, because he's going to show us that process, what goes into a brand, and that what helps to keep it consistent. So before we dive in, well, thank you, obviously, Bobby, for coming with us. Appreciate
Thanks.
you. And before we dive into that, let's just talk about what branding is, and that is the system for identifying a product or service or company as unique and differentiating it from the competition is like the definition. The other definition that I like even better is from Google, and that's the art of aligning what you want people to think about your company with what people actually do think about your company, and vice versa. So that is all, that's what IdeaPros is all about, right, Bobby? Creating these innovative, like, standout brands.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
tell me more.
so, hi, I'm Bobby again, and I'm your creative director. I have my hands in a lot of your projects, kind of taking that brand strategy and formulating it into not only a logo, but a brand that your customer connects to, either emotionally or they just like what it looks like. Just that there's so many different factors that go along with a successful brand. And I just want to cover some of the basics and the tools that you'll need to begin that journey. And it's always evolving. Remember, branding is constantly evolving. You have a logo, but there's so many different factors that come along with this, and that is in a brand book that I want to talk about. And we can go over that now if we want to.
We're going to put that on the screen. And so if you aren't a partner with IdeaPros, I know we have lots of people who are, that come to our lives that are partners, but a lot of you that are not partners of IdeaPros, this information applies to you as well. You would similarly want to create a brand book that is the definition. It's everything that your brand is. So it's really easy to take something like this and give it to a social media team, and even the evolved version that we're going to go into in a moment here, but it has all the basics of your brand in it. And so what I am going to preface this with is that we are going to do another show about the logo creation, like what kinds of elements go into logos. So right now we're talking about brand, which is that whole big picture, not just your logo, but what you want to be known for. It's all of that encompassing information around your brand. So show us around this brand guideline.
So these are the basics. These are the rules. This is the foundation of a brand style guide. The things you want to create so you can effectively pass it off to any advertiser, and they'll be able to emulate and replicate your brand correctly and not mess it up. Can't tell you how many times that happens. So these are just the bare bones rules.
Right. And that's these pieces are what make that innovative and memorable brand. Because if you are all over the board on your branding, if you change your colors from week to week, you're not going to be memorable. You're just not, because no one's going to be able to identify with that. Now, there is a lot to be said about the evolution of a brand. I have personally on my brand gone through, I don't know how many different variations. Probably within the last 2 years, I've had at least 5 different logos and colors, but that's because I wasn't sure on my target audience. And I was learning as I went, like, oh, we'll try this. This is my favorite color. I'll start with this. It goes so much deeper than that. So go ahead, Bobby. I want you to explain that.
So I just really like this. It's a really basic definition. It's just this highlights all the written, the visual and graphic elements that encompass our brand. These standards are intended to be tools and guidelines that enable us to maintain a consistent voice to the public and provide you with the most effective campaign. Please refer to this document. So it starts off, that's the first page. So here we are. You have your initial logo with your tagline.
I'm going to make it big so we can see it a little better.
So it goes into the bare bones. Logos should be in PMS black, which is a Pantone black and a Pantone red. If it's on screen only, because that's for print, all Pantones are for print. For screen, you have for your, your websites, your PowerPoints, your email, that's going to be in a JPEG or PNG format. And then for print, you're also going to use a thing called vector artwork. So that is artwork that can be scaled and not lose its resolution. Mm-hmm. Seeing it in black and white just makes it so much better. So we have our logo here with the tagline, which is "Shape Our Future," which it just looked better on top.
Yeah.
So, and then you have your bare bones logo that would be for print.
And that makes a big difference. The balance of what, where things are in your logo. And that's why working with branding teams is super helpful. Like Bobby will move things around until it looks good and makes the right impact, because having the tagline under it or not having the DR1 there might make a big impact on what they're trying to communicate.
Huge. Balance and composition, number one. Number one. So I'll move on, keep it going. So this logo is actually the cinematic version. So just to give you a brief overview, Rotor DR1 is it's a television series, but it's guided through social media. So all of their followers who follow Rotor DR1, they actually affect the next episode. So this was super important to have a cinematic logo. Now that doesn't go for everybody, but if you want to create video content, you're going to need a version that is for video only. So those colors are going to be in RGB, which is in red, green, and blue. So you want a color match.
Right. And all the colors are right there. If you don't mind highlighting them with where the CMYK, those ones right there, that tells you exactly what code. And if your graphic designer is doing anything for you, they need to use those exact colors. There's also tints and shades if you can get into specifying for your design team. But the core of it, these are your brand colors. You have to get down to, what are my brand colors?
Right. And these are specific values. Some of these change too, just so you can color match, because your screen can change the color.
Oh, yes.
So what I see, you might not see that on your screen. So as long as you have the values correct, you can ensure the brand consistency. So if you're curious, this is a hex code. This is for web only, but we even went down to matching those colors as well.
Wonderful. And for cinematic, it's probably a reverse to a white logo like we're seeing here, because it's going over the top of a video or the back of a screen, like somewhere on ours. Like our yellow is at the top with a transparent back. So those types of things are really important, getting the right file to put over the top of anything that you have.
Correct. And at IdeaPros, we create probably 30 different file formats for you. So we cover from A to Z.
Exactly. So we have some, black and white version.
Just real quick, you have to have your logo in black and white, especially if you think of newspaper or just a really simple banner and you only want to pay for one color. Having your logo in black and white is super important. And again, this is the logo that's reversed.
Perfect.
Oh. Here's a really, really important thing. This is called the area of isolation. Now, your logo is going to look better when other elements aren't, in the middle of it or around it too close. This ensures that your brand is protected and looks its best. Okay.
Absolutely.
This is a law that gets broken in graphic design all the time, especially in newspapers. They will put headlines right above there. So you see, I just took an element from the logo and kind of made this imaginary box around it. So nothing goes in that area.
Gives yourself a little padding around the logo so that it looks its best, for sure.
That's right. And we have our minimum logo size, which is 0.25. That's the smallest I
That's
want you to do this logo, because you see, you can't go any smaller than that. You can't see it.
exactly. That's
So
a
if
good
you,
point.
right. So if you have to go smaller, say you want to make a favicon, and a favicon is for your website, and that's the little cute thing up there. That's only like 15 pixels. So I would, in order to make an effective favicon, you would want to take, you know, one of these R's, and then you can shrink that down to, again, 0.25, nowhere smaller.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think I am used to creating them at 40 pixels by 40 pixels. If you're a
Yeah.
Canva user, Canva won't even let you go that small.
Mm.
So, you know, there to some extent you have to, there's favicon creation programs, but you wouldn't want to read the logo at that small. It's usually the symbol. So, you know, in this one, what did you do for this one, for the
So for
favicon?
this
The R?
favicon, I actually used
Oh,
this O, but I had to scale that dot up a lot, just
right.
so it was legible. So again, brand is always evolving. Things happen where you have to adjust, but stay within the guidelines. And again, these are just the bare bones guidelines.
And like something like IdeaPros, we have IdeaPros spelled with capital I, and then a capital P is how our brand has been for a long time, and it evolves, but that's on our brand guideline. We also specify that we don't do certain things with our brand. Like we're not going to use cartoon characters or you know, those cheesy animation little people that are like round heads. You know, we're saying, no, we're not going to do this. So we have to keep our brand elevated to this level. So you communicate that type of information in brand guideline like this.
That's right. And speaking of do's and don'ts.
Yep, there they are.
These are the things you don't want to do. And this is a misuse of the logo.
It must be fun coming up with don't do's.
This is the funnest part in creating these documents.
Don't do
and
this. Don't.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised. Once someone gets a hold of your vector artwork, the designer can do whatever they want. So this document really ensures that they're going to protect you're going to protect your brand.
I love it. And little things like putting the DR1 above or changing the circle in the O. I mean, I see some of the things that you're specifying here, darkening the lines. So making the lines thicker is a no-no, or changing the color base. So it's pretty obvious. In fact, you say that too, right underneath it, like what not to do. Don't enlarge, don't morph this.
Yeah, don't even rotate it. Because it just throws it all off. Like if you just wanted to stick it like that,
it would be
it's not right.
The O would be in the wrong spot. Yep, absolutely.
Right. And the most important rule that's always broken is do not reproduce the logo in low resolution. So you want to use the correct file formats, which we specify, so you get the clearest possible logo.
Perfect. And again, if you're working with a designer, they're going to give you these files in the different formats. It's good to know what each type of format means. So, you know, a PNG versus a GIF, and we'll definitely have Bobby kind of go through some of that information, maybe in the blog article that we attach to this show.
Or in the logo creation. I could even,
yes, absolutely.
That'd be great. So another really important part in the bare bones is typography. So directly connecting your brand with a specific font is branding 101. So I didn't specifically, I made a custom where it says rotor. This is actually a custom font that was drawn. So we needed some sort of text that would help accompany the entire brand. So
it complements the logo font. So it's around the same shape on the letter. So it's a rounder letter for Helvetica. It's a rounder letter, and then he has his bold condensed, impact writing in there too. This is one of the biggest things that I see people do make the mistake of changing is the font. They put whatever font they want, and there's a really big difference between the ones with, if it's a scripty font to a standard, and I don't even know the terms, but where it has little tails, I call them, like Times New Roman is very different. Serif, there it is. See, I'm
Yeah.
clearly not a graphic designer.
Yeah.
But if you stick to this is also size of font. You know, if you want to keep that consistent in your materials that you're putting out, for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to select all sans serif fonts, which doesn't have the cute little thing on it. And this really ensures the brand and brings it to a very professional level. So say I handed this document off to the newspaper, they're going to know that I want my heading, whatever I say in my headline, that my heading is going to be heading 26-point font of this particular Helvetica.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just any Helvetica. It's a specific Helvetica New ultralight. So this really gets very granular and is very good. And you need this.
And this is what you can communicate to your web designer to use on your website. It goes way deeper than just print. It goes into ads, everything. Perfect.
And the ultimate brander, which I will bring up, Apple. This happened probably a couple years ago. Apple actually developed their own font.
Yeah, very possible.
There's hundreds of different styles, and it's called San Francisco. And they actually used to use Helvetica New, but they wanted to go that far and create their own alphabet.
Which is possible. Actually, you can do your own handwritten fonts as well, like to match your own handwriting. So I have had some clients that created their own handwritten font so that they had literally their scribbles across. So this is a very good. Thank you, Bobby. I know we are short on time for today, but we're going to do this one as Branding 101. You do have this more advanced.
I do have this one as more advanced.
So
we can save it, or we can look through it real quick.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so this is for Wick Tower. It's just a residential building that is in downtown Youngstown, Ohio, that's just by Cleveland. It was a historic building that has now been transformed for a lot of, student housing and young business professionals looking to live downtown. So we called it the Wick Tower. And this will be the logo, the entire logo with its address, and just a nice little built in 1910. So you see, this is just the bare bones. And then we have your entire logo, the apartments, the address. Could
be on a website page.
Could be on a website. So I'm just going to go through it pretty quick. This is I'm going to show all of the secondary branding elements that came off that base brand document. And this is your brand constantly evolving and getting more into a strategy and advertisements and collateral. So this is an idea for a sticker.
Perfect.
Here's their typography.
And that could be a sticker. It could also be your social media profile image. There's a lot of places that you could use a round version of your logo for sure.
That's right. Theirs is pretty in-depth here with their typography. They also have their branded tagline, which is "I live at the tower," and I use the same W that's in the logo.
Yeah, that makes sense. Consistency. Again, tying all of this in is super important to create that memorable and really innovative brand.
Stationery.
Gotta have
it.
Everyone
needs this. Everyone. What it would look like: stamped, embossing, T-shirts.
Of course.
Posters. A pin. For sure. Gotta have it.
Right? Especially for the people who are giving tours or the bellman, right?
Right. This takes it to a whole nother level. This is their signage. They actually made this, and they made it out of copper, and it looks so good.
That would be intense.
It looks so good when you're walking in. Super professional. And then this is their tagline.
I love how they're with this "I live at the tower." They're actually teaching people. Again, it goes back to, what do you want to be known for? Well, they want it to be a place where you live. I live here. I live at the tower. They're telling they're actually putting in their taglines what they want people to think of them. Innovative for Apple and all that.
Yeah, this is a statement. You want everyone to know, like, where do you live? I live at the tower. You don't even have to say Wick Tower. You say, I live at the tower.
The tower.
And it's a
defining.
status.
It is.
It's
Yeah,
a status
defining.
symbol. So
Very
again,
cool.
you know, showing the building, and this guy's just taking his morning jog downtown.
Awesome.
I live at the tower. This is some of their exterior signage. So you'll see some of my little rules that come into play.
Right, space around
my area of
outside.
isolation, you know, just little things. If you're going to do some signage, you know, use the fonts that we're told, keep that area of isolation, and it all looks good. What their sales center could look like. I wanted these like really cool posters, and some of their other properties were going to be featured here. They really want these motivational historical posters. So these are some famous guys in Youngstown. This guy actually died on the Titanic, which is really interesting. Yeah. Pretty wild.
But this is creating a brand beyond just what's in print too. This is, you know, what is the environment? What do you want people to feel when they experience and engage with your brand? So they wanted to incorporate in the history, and that's something that they put in their brand guideline for that same reason.
Right. Since it was such a modern building, but we use the exterior shell of the actual building, even though they totally gutted it, they kept the elevator. They kept the original staircase. So just that mixture of that modern and historical is not only in the product, in the building itself, it's also in their marketing and in their advertising.
It's cool. Very cool.
This is just one of their floor plans. I just use like the tip of the building.
Yeah. So you're using your W, you're using the logo with the proper you know, space around it. You're using a gray here, which in your brand guideline, you could always have those variations of shades, obviously. Very cool. And then a brochure to have with it. That's awesome. I'm very impressed. Now, how you actually do this in your brand, we're going to talk more. We'll have Bobby on for, I would say, like my series. I'm going to have him for a 3-part series. So we talked a little bit about the branding guidelines. Then we're going to go into a little more depth on how a logo is selected. Do you use a shape? Do you use a representation, a symbol, and all of that? So stay tuned. I know we didn't get to answer a lot of questions today, and we're catching Bobby in between his branding meetings right now. So I'm gonna let you guys if you have any questions for Bobby or about branding, put them in the chat, and we'll definitely be getting back to you guys with incorporating those questions into the next show that we have Bobby on. And for now, though, we're going to let you guys go and think about what you want to be known for, what you want your brand to stand out for, and keep going on innovation. Thank you so much, Bobby, for being with us. I'm going to go ahead and let you drop out, and then I will finish up with everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, thank you again for being with us every Friday at noon Pacific time. And if you haven't already, hit the bell so that you get notified when we go live. And in the chat, there's also a link for submitting questions and also for getting reminders. So we can't wait to see you guys next